Gruesome Magazine.
I'm your host, Dr. Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we're reviewing The Little Things, which is out now in theaters and streaming on HBO Max. This is the whole day and date thing, so for 28 days, you can watch it on HBO Max. So we did. All right, let me introduce the rest of the crew, starting off with Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm great. I'm
perfect.
Absolutely great.
Absolutely great. How's the trunk space? I'm just asking.
How's the trunk space? Yeah. That's it.
Catch up. All right.
Usually he's the one doing that. Yeah.
I know. Also joining us this week is Crystal Cleveland, the living dead girl. How you doing, Crystal?
I'm fantastic. I don't know. I was gonna try to say something like looking for my beret or something, and it was gonna be a fail. And
yeah, and I thought it was a beret, and it really confused me. But that's a different story.
You thought it was beret?
Oh.
Oh God!
Is it
Oh
beret?
God!
It's
yes,
a beret.
It was a beret.
It was a beret, but
Okay.
never mind. It was funny in the '60s, Jeff, if you remember. All right. What we're gonna do is we're gonna review.
It's the 70s. I don't remember, Doc.
That's true. What we're gonna do is we're gonna give our first impressions of The Little Things. Then we're gonna talk about the movie a little bit. We'll probably get into spoilers since it's so available, and then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. And this one's gonna offer a lot, so let's do that. But what film are we talking about? We are talking about The Little Things, available in theaters and HBO Max starting January 29th, 2021. It's written and directed by John Lee Hancock. The cast is phenomenal, and they let you know that in the poster and in the Academy Award winner. Are you trying to tell us something? Yes, Denzel Washington, Rami, Malek, Jared Leto, Chris Bauer, Michael Hyatt, Terry Kinney, Natalie Morales, among many others. The synopsis is Kern County Deputy Sheriff Joe Deacon is sent to Los Angeles for what should be a quick evidence-gathering assignment. Instead, he becomes embroiled in a search for a serial killer who is terrorizing the city. So this is more in the crime drama thing, but it's coming our way as horror fans via Silence of the Lambs kind of hook.
Serial killer, yeah.
Yep, serial killer. So we get to claim it as our own. It's one of those fringe horror films. Yeah, we'll take it. The thriller. All right, so what we're going to do is give our first impressions. Jeff, you are up first, sir. What was your first impression of The Little Things?
I like this, and I think maybe it's just because of the quality of it. The three leads are phenomenal, and the cinematography is great. I love the way the story is told, and but there's nothing, on the surface. It's like there's nothing really new. It's the typical, broken cop who obsessed too much over one case and had a breakdown or something, and he had to leave. And now there's a reason he had to come back, which is Denzel Washington. So, but I love all three of these actors, and I have for as long as I can recall. Rami Malek is such a quirky looking guy.
He's beautiful. He
does a great job in this, and so does Denzel Washington, and so does Jared Leto. And the supporting cast are very excellent too. They're all people that I recognize, and they do a great job fleshing this out. There's some nice, what I want to say, detecting going on. There's some nice psychology going on, and there's I like that. There's it's not super graphic in terms of the violence. There's one body we see that is fairly graphic, what we see, but you don't get. It's not like a horror thing where you're seeing the kills and everything. It's sort of the from the police side of the deal. And wow, Jared Leto is such a creep. So weird. So weird. So anyway, I'll stop there. I enjoyed it. And all these guys, you know, the director, was it John Lee Hancock, doesn't have a ton of credits, but he's been involved in some pretty impressive things. He directed, I like this stuff because it was a baseball movie. He directed The Rookie with Dennis Quaid, and The Alamo and The Blind Side and The Founder, which was about Ray Kroc, and then The Highwayman, and then, but he also wrote A Perfect World, Saving Mr. Banks. Yes, I don't know why I skipped over that one. So yeah, he wrote Snow White and the Huntsman.
Oh,
so he has a kind of an interesting career over the last 30 years of well-known movies, but not tons of them. If that makes
sometimes sense. It's quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Sometimes. All right, Crystal, you're up next. What was your first impression of The Little Things?
So, I love Rami. Like, I think the three leads were impeccable. They gave fantastic performances. They're all three understated actors. They always give reserved performances. They just kind of deliver their lines, and there's just subtle nuances. Oh, I just think they're all so fabulous, and to have them all in a movie is wonderful. Denzel, like, that dude does not age. He looks so good. I was like, ooh, I can't believe it. And there is something about all of his performances that he just has this look when he's like sad or pleading that just makes me want to cry. I don't even care what he's saying. I found this movie actually to be really unexpected. It is a homicide investigation, you know, the getting stuck on a case, but it takes a very unexpected twist and it resolves in a very unexpected way. And I loved it. It might, I think for some people it's going to be jarring and they're not going to be satisfied because there's not a satisfying end to this. But most of the time I think that's more realistic. And I think what happened is actually pretty realistic. So I found it incredibly intriguing. The beginning scene got me. I mean, it was Silence of the Lambs, basically her driving in the car. Yeah. And so, I mean, obviously they had me at that moment. I really, really enjoyed it. I had wanted to watch it anyway, but since we were going to review it, you know, it bumped up my timeline, and I couldn't take my eyes off of it. And I actually had to pause it because I had to go take care of something, and I was like, I can't wait to get back. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I guess to say I was riveted, I know that's kind of surprising because I know that this movie has received mixed reviews, and I'm a little surprised about that, but I think that that's because of the resolution. I think because there's not a resolution, technically, that's difficult. I think people wanted this more Seven type ending, or, you know.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think the mixed reaction is due to the choices it takes at the end, mm-hmm. which for me, I felt was right. I enjoyed
it. Me too.
Yeah, but I get it because you could look at this and go, mm-hmm. Some people aren't going to like that.
Yep.
But at the same time, the three actors in here are. Yeah, you are glued to the screen watching them, their performances, especially Denzel and Rami. You know, the chemistry between them two is you know, there's a layer of respect in there that you can mm-hmm. you're drawn to. That's really interesting, and a tinge of compassion. It's really strange how this mm-hmm. how their relationship, you know, builds in this. And then, of course, you know, Jared Leto comes in as this suspect, and he is, you know, he's a little bent, but isn't he always? But he really perfects this role, and I really enjoyed his take. The dialogue he has, like, there's a scene inside of when he's being questioned, and it's he knows he thinks he knows a little too much to, you know, and kind of pokes and prods at the right buttons, and it's really interesting. So, but what I think what really drew me in and really got me interested is that it ended up being less about the investigation and more about the effects of these
Yeah.
investigations on our two leads. Well, three for this matter. I mean, really, there's a effect on Jared Leto's character as well, to be honest. But the Deacon character, Joe Deacon, played by Denzel, has already been through it, and Jim Baxter, played by Rami, is now going through it again. And there's uh, this this repetition that is recognized by Deacon that kind of solidifies the story, kind of grounds it and entwines it all together. And for me, that was maybe the rewarding part at the end.
I think so too.
It, right?
I almost almost cried a little bit because I was like, that's so sweet and kind because he understands, and no one is going to understand more than him. These two characters are the same.
Yeah, they are now. They are now, definitely.
Yeah, and there was a really nice arc in the relationship too.
Yep.
That was really interesting.
Yep. And Deacon is such a haunted character even before you realize why, and it you can see it. You read it on his face. You read it in his smile that is never, even when he smiles, and you never really feel that he's smiling. Right? It feels like it's a mask. He's always wearing a mask, and it's a really nuanced performance in that physicality. So I was glued to this movie, and I enjoyed every little bit of it. I was surprised. I was not expecting to like it as much, to be honest.
I think me too. I think I was expecting to like it, but I wasn't expecting to like it for the story that it is.
Right. I think that's.
I was thinking it was going to be more like The Collector. I mean, maybe not quite. More Silence of the Lamb-ish or whatever.
Or Seven or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't, and that was okay. And that's surprising that I feel that way.
It's definitely its own thing. And what I meant was, I think I said, the setup isn't particularly new, but the way that he deals with it and the outcome is new and unique. And the relationships between all the characters, I thought, were well played and well written.
Yeah, I wonder if it's also having mixed reactions, kind of being compared to True Detective, because it kind of fits in that realm as well. The True Detective series, it has two characters that are together and they're going through things. Although they typically, kind of have a stretch of time. This one is all condensed, but I don't know. To me, I'm curious of why people are reacting the way they are, because I don't think I heard anybody, disqualify the acting or the direction or the cinematography. It's all about, does the movie pay off or not? And for me, it did.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. People didn't understand it.
Uh-oh.
I don't want to say what people thought it was, but it was not at all what they thought it was. Mm-hmm. And that's what I found that very perplexing. People didn't understand what happened at the end. They didn't get it. And so I think because of that, and I think it was very obvious, but I understand. Some people aren't going to completely understand it. They thought, I guess, I could say it because it's obvious. It's not. They thought Denzel Washington was the killer.
Well, I was suspicious all along. I was like, what's going on? I was suspicious of him all along until a certain reveal. And then once that happened, I get what's going on. But the way he was acting and before we knew the whole story, I was suspicious of him.
Oh, wow. Not me. No, they thought at the end, they thought it. And I was like,
no, I didn't. I guess I never.
Yeah, me neither. Because he wasn't even in the right city when this happened, when this all transpired and everything. There was really no basis.
Yeah, but they kind of covered that track because they said he was a traveler and stuff.
Fair. That's fair.
Could have very well been, that traveler. I think that is the people that are going down that route. I think they were directed down that route. I think it was a legitimate red herring.
Well, I think what would have been more interesting is the fact that when the FBI detective that had come in to investigate afterward says it's a 35 to 40-year-old white male who's this, that, and they were just focusing on Rami at that moment while he was saying that, overlaying that. I think that would be more telling than, thinking Denzel just seemed tortured. And of course, once you find out everything, you understand why he and his wife got a divorce. You understand it all makes sense. It all like tick 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 Tetris, right?
And you could see somebody else following in those footsteps.
And
people
so
realize it
thankful.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, and someone that loves him, or that wants to help him so much that they're willing to go through so much effort to make him feel better about what happened. Oh,
I know we're kind of getting toward the end, and we said we might do spoilers, but we're not literally saying what it is. But
yeah,
we're giving
you won't know.
But what's really great about that, I think, is the way that relationship builds from their first encounter, which is a bit of a conflict, to a really unique relationship between the two. I don't think I wouldn't consider them like friends, but there's a respect.
They're bonded for life.
They're bonded for life, but but I think there's a mutual respect that grows in there. That's
right. Well, and I think it starts off with the Baxters. Their introduction is not good, right? He's blocking him from getting out and kind of ignores him when he tells him to move. But then he finds out, Baxter is like the big dog now, right? And then when he finds out who Deacon is, he was like, so then he kind of like pokes at him, sort of making fun of him. Well, where's your big solution now? I don't remember exactly how he said it.
Did he call him Kojak or something at one point?
Yeah. But yet he is asking him to come along so he can take advantage of his observations. Yeah. So it was a little bit of a alpha male conflict at first, but at some point they kind of settled into their roles where I felt like Deacon was really the alpha.
I think more like the mentor too. I mean, in more ways than one, as we say.
Yeah. He wasn't lording it over him, but he took the I don't know what to call it. The more experienced position, I guess, was
the lead.
Yeah.
I think to me, it's all about the performances. The more you get into these three characters and their dialogue and interactions, and there are some really, for me at least, there were some really tense scenes. The scene with Baxter and Sparma when Deacon is stepped aside for a few minutes, that was so tense for me. Getting into the car and everything. I was like, oh, man,
right.
Don't do it. Oh,
I was like, what are you thinking? No cop should ever do that. But I know homicide detectives are willing to do more because they want to know. It's that desire. I don't think you become a homicide detective because you're willing to stay in the background.
Right. So you realize at that point that you care about these characters, right? So you've grown to like them and care about them. And
exactly.
That can make and break a film, right? So if that scene doesn't play out for you and you're not tense at that scene and concerned, then you haven't grown to that character. That it didn't work for you. That growth to that character didn't work, and I could see you coming to a conclusion where you didn't like it. But if you did, I think you're going to like this film because. That scene is telling because the rest of the film is going to hinge on how you feel at that moment.
Yeah, I agree. Completely.
He just threw those coffees aside. Man, you went to all that trouble.
Oh God, I know. It's so funny. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, he's getting coffee. Like you need it. You need your coffee.
Oh, yeah.
But you are during that scene. You're screaming, no, don't. Wait. So.
Yeah. And I like that. I like that feeling. I like that. Knowing that you're invested and you're in the movie, and I tend to realize that and we write it down. Because that's what we do as a living. But so that was the moment when I knew the movie was a success for me.
And it all played out. So this is what I like about the movie. It's very natural. It all makes sense. Totally seems like what people would do. Totally seems like how people would react. I mean, and let me tell you, someone is a true friend. You know what they say about true friends?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
You don't have to say it, but you know,
Yep.
mm-hmm.
He knew what he needed to do.
Yep.
Yeah. And it was, and when he, yeah, I'll say it off screen, but I knew there was going to be more than just 3 of those holes. We'll just say that.
The past is the future is the past.
Yeah, and that's great.
Yeah.
And that's really what's here. Is there's a cycle here going on. All right, let's wrap this up. Let's give our final thoughts, our score, a 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. But before we do, if you're still listening, we want to thank you. Thank you for hanging out with us. Stick around for our favorite scenes because that's going to be the fun part, especially if you've seen it. But if you are enjoying this and you want to support us, it's really easy to do and it's free. All you need to do is hit the subscribe button, or better yet, share with a friend. That would be awesome. If you want to get a little bit more invested, you can hit the like button, or you can leave us some comments. We love our comments, and we've been getting some great ones lately. Thank you all for commenting. And of course, we want to take a quick moment to thank our patrons, whose without their support, we would not be able to do not only the Gruesome Magazine podcast, but H&R, Decades of Horror, and Heroes and Droids. We literally put out an episode each weekday of one of these 4 items. So we do 2 Gruesome Magazines and H&R, Decades of Horror, and Heroes and Droids every week, and sometimes there's more than that. So we like to talk a lot. We are babblers. We babble. Anyway, let's do this because I'm babbling at the moment. Let's give our final thoughts, our score, and favorite scene. Jeff, you are up first, sir.
This is definitely worth a watch. I think it's just a fine example of filmmaking and story and the way the story is told and the dialogue and the acting and cinematography. I'm giving this a 4.
Nice. I like that.
And this is going to sound like the weirdest damn. I'm tempted to pick a different one, but this one just tickled me. And it's when he goes and sees Joe Deacon goes and sees his ex-wife, and they don't get very close. They stand like the yard apart, and the wife is like, "Well, it's good to see you." And now the house looks nice. Yeah, so and so, my new husband, he's a whiz at yard work, and so they smile and wave. But he's got that look on his face where he's not really smiling. But he's being nice, and when he turns around and walks back to the car, he kicks the word. What do you call the stuff around the tree? He kicks it out of its space. God,
like the mulch.
The mulch. Yeah.
Mulch. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, he kicks the mulch out. It's just
makes a mess of it.
I just thought that was such a. He's always so deadpan and hard to read, but then there came out how he was really feeling there without seeing it on his face.
Yeah. I love stuff like that. That's a great scene, actually. All right, Crystal, you're up next. Your final thoughts, your score, and favorite scene.
So yes, obviously I like this film. I'm also giving it a 4. Yay.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah, we've been so simpatico for a while.
Yeah.
My favorite scene is, does he look like the kind of guy that plays golf? That was really funny to me. Yeah, and you'll know it when you see it. It's so obvious. I was like, I actually chuckled out loud with that because it's like, oh, he took a vacation. So what's the big deal? You think that guy takes vacations? No.
What are you thinking? What are you thinking? I like that. Yes, for me as well. This movie hinges on the performances and how you react to them. I reacted very well, so the movie worked for me. I don't think it's as successful as some of the other films that are like it that we're talking about. It's not Silence of the Lambs. It's not even Seven. But at the same time, it's a solid thriller. It really is more on the emotional level of what a thriller does, right? And I like that. I really liked the arcs for the characters. I liked the Albert Sparma character played by Jared Leto. I liked how he, basically throttled the situation the way he wanted to, and so there was a lot going on that I really enjoyed. The ending is a little like, okay, we're going to end there. All right, let's do it. Let's end there. That's fine. That actually kind of makes sense, but I could see where, it may not. it may not satisfy everybody, but that's okay. That's okay. But you gotta commit to what you want to make, and they did, and it worked for me. I'm going to give it a 4 as well. I am.
Oh, nice.
Yep, good.
Yeah, I really am. I really enjoyed this. I was glad to watch it. And my favorite scene, there's actually quite a few. Some of them involved the dialogue, House of Trunk Space, just because of what it implied. But I'm going to say I liked when the camera pulls back and you see that there's a lot of holes dug in the dirt, and you just know the mindset of the person that's involved in that and what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's so tragic. If you're feeling for that character, you're going to, your heart's going to pour out for that guy. So I just really like that. I thought it was handled real well. The way the shot was framed and everything, it just really worked for me. Yes.
Yes.
So there you go.
Yes.
That's our
Yeah,
review.
none of us picked. I was going to pick the scene where he leaves the crime scene and walks across the street because I thought that was pretty impressive too.
Yes.
But I didn't.
Or when
But
they turn on the when they turn on the lights, they're going in there with the flashlight and you see all the what's going to happen and the lights come on and you're like, ah, oh my god.
Well, the whole thing freaked me out. When they walked through that first apartment to get there, I felt at first I was wondering, are these all, anyway.
Yeah, but it's not. It's something else. Oh man. So yeah, there's enough in here for horror fans to latch onto for certain. It's tragic. All right. That's our review for Little Things. Thank you for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Jeff, Crystal, thank you for joining me tonight. This was an incredibly fun discussion.
Just a good one. Yep. Thanks
Thank
for having
y'all.
us.
Let's say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Gruesome Magazine.